Questions with
Kat and Nakia.
Today we have the sensational Rita Repulsa, played by Carla Perez.
Yes, we do.
Sharing her favorite episode with us. So here we go. Question number 1, Carla. Why did you pick this episode as your favorite?
Although I do have a few I really enjoyed filming, I would say my all-time favorite would be Countdown to Destruction.
Don't miss Countdown to Destruction, the thrilling 2-part conclusion of an all-new Power Rangers in space.
I say that because it was one of those episodes that it was a pivotal episode in the whole Power Rangers saga. So many things happened and we found out things we didn't know. And also it was the end of the Zordon era. Zordon had to die. It was so sad. But yet in a way it changed everything. And I finally got to play Rita Repulsa as a different person, a different character in a way, because who would have known she was actually good? That underneath all that there was love, or at least she was capable of love, so she could become good. And it was a fun place to be, because the whole time I was playing her in the same place. I didn't really get to interact with much people but all the monsters and Lord Zed, and at that time I got to interact with more of the actors and other villains, and it was so much fun. I loved it. And just playing her as this good two-shoes preppy but fun-loving person with Lord Zed, that was it was a time that I won't forget, and I really enjoyed.
That makes sense. Actually, I think that was Paulie Schreier's favorite episode.
Thank you.
Can we just get it together?
Thank you. For her, yes.
You're my interpreter, yes.
I think it was a lot of people's favorite episode. There was a lot of drama. There was a lot of suspense. We didn't know if the show would be continuing. Zordon is destroyed. Like, there was a lot of huge moments in that episode. So.
And villains became humans.
Yes.
And some died. And I get it. I enjoyed the episode as well.
Me too.
There was a lot going on.
Yeah, me too.
Good choice. So this episode had a lot of villains from the past and present. What did you enjoy most about working with people that you had never worked with before?
With all the actors and personalities on the set of this episode, Countdown to Destruction. Actually, I think I only had, the only scenes I had with villains was Lord Zed and Astronema, because Astronema wanted Lord Zed and I to follow her plans, to do her plans. And of course, the two of us are like, oh no, we have our own plans and we're going to do what we want. But in the end, we did have to follow Astronema's plan because of Dark Spectre and her had concocted the plan together. I believe it was. We still had to do what they said. But it was a fun time, because even though we weren't really filming the scene together, because Lord Zed and I were in another location and we were kind of speaking to her through a screen. So although we weren't in person doing the scene together, it was still fun setting it up so it looked like we were, even though it was through a screen. It was fun. And I know there was a funny blooper in there where it didn't get cast in the... Well, it didn't make the final cut, but in the end, where the blooper episodes play at the end of the episode, it shows where I kind of push Lord Zed, and in reality, in the blooper scene, I push him, but he tumbles over and actually falls to the ground, and he was stuck there for a while, because in those suits, it's really hard to move around, and Lord Zed's suit was so cumbersome and had those little components. And when I pushed him, he couldn't even move. He just fell to the ground, and there was nothing you could do. So that was pretty funny.
That's awesome. That's really awesome. I like that. I like that. And those were some really interesting villains too. The suits and everything that entailed as well. So that's very cool, Miss Carla.
Did you know that the episode was going to be the last one, or that it was going to continue? And what's your thoughts about that?
At the time, no, I didn't think Power Rangers was ending. I mean, the script was pretty dire, and, you know, Zordon dies and the Power Rangers are destroyed in a way. Yeah, it was dire, and it looked like pretty grim, but I just thought it was the end of maybe Power Rangers in space, and they were going to do a season, you know, as far as like, you know, how they change over to another set of Power Rangers. I thought that was what it was about, but I had no idea that they were considering ending it completely. But I'm glad they didn't, and I'm glad they went in the direction of continuing, and they did not end Power Rangers completely, because, I mean, look at Power Rangers today. The fandom is so big, and you wouldn't have had all those other decades or a few more decades of children growing up with the Power Rangers. So I am happy that they did not end it there.
It definitely seemed like it could have been the end. And I actually think that there was a possibility of that they were thinking of ending the series. And Space kind of revamped the franchise, I think.
Yeah.
So yeah, there was a lot of drama, like you said. So yeah.
Yeah, I think that's why Space is very popular, because of all of the drama and some of the storylines from In Space as well. And obviously the ratings must have gone a lot higher, because they continued.
Kept going.
Yeah. That's cool.
Yeah.
Miss Carla, why do you think these episodes resonated so much with the fans?
Because it was so sad, and you had that feeling that, oh no, is this really it? Is it the end of the Power Rangers of Zordon? It just seemed so bleak and dire. There was no hope. It just can't be the end. No, we've grown up on Power Rangers. So I think it's just one of those things that you don't want it to end. And it really tugged at you like, no. You know, traveling around and speaking to the fandom, that's a lot of the reasons why it's just tugged. It was just too sad. Could you imagine if they absolutely ended it then? That would have been horrible. Those particular episodes really resonated, especially because Zordon died. It was so sad. So sad. You can't forget that. You can't.
Yes, it seemed very bleak, and like this could be the end.
Yeah.
The end, the drama, the suspense.
The end of the world as we know it.
It's the end of the world as we know it.
And I feel fine.
I didn't know the end. Yeah, so there you have it. But it wasn't the end because it kept going.
Yes.
Okay.
So, as we know, you were the face of Rita Repulsa after she had the moon mask and became young, beautiful Rita. But Barbara Goodson was the voice. Did you know that that you were not going to be doing the voice of Rita Repulsa?
Well, at the time when I first started playing Rita, I did not know that there was still a voiceover being done. I was playing Rita as the young Rita, as you know, the young Rita. And I did Rita completely the way any professional actor would do. Your whole physical body, your voice, your face, everything. That's just what you do. You have to get into character no matter what, or you're just not going to pull it off. And that's what I did. I just voiced her normally, and well, not normally. I did use the high-pitched, screechy voice that Rita is, and you know, that's what you got to do in order to get the character. And I didn't have a problem with it. I did kind of throw my voice out a little sometimes, and I would have a sore voice, but I guess that's Rita, right? After a few episodes, though, I did find out that Rita was being voiced over by Barbara still. So I didn't use that too screechy of a voice at the time, because I knew it wouldn't be my voice, because it really does a number on your vocals. So when I did find out, I just, in a way, it was a little bit of a relief, because I didn't have to go so far as throwing my voice out so much. So it was still fine. I didn't have any problems with it. I still played her the way you should play Rita. And all out and animated and just how Rita is.
You didn't know.
She did not know.
You did not know. I don't know how I would feel about that, thinking that I booked the full character, but only kind of half, because you're the physical being, but they're not going to use your voice.
I think the voice was established and so iconic that before Carla was cast. And the reason Carla was cast is because they ran out of footage with the original, the Sentai footage. They only had a certain amount, and so that's why Rita became young, so that they could continue on. So the voice of Rita had already been established. I don't think it was anything to do with how amazing Carla was or her performance at all. As she said, it was, they loved her. But yeah, you saved your vocal cords. That was
yes. Because Barbara hitting those high notes, I'm like, God bless you.
I don't know how that.
I don't know.
She is a little person with a very large voice.
Very large, very large,
tiny and mighty.
As we've discussed, this was such a climactic episode with so many cast and crew. Was there any dissension? Was there any conflict, any problems?
Spill the tea.
Tea spilled.
You know, I wouldn't really know because I was mainly working with a lot of the monsters, and once in a while I worked with other actors, Power Rangers and stuff, villains, but no, I couldn't say there was really. To me, the whole set was just fun to me. And if there was any type of disagreements or discord, they were probably just rumors that weren't really validated. At least I didn't know. So I didn't notice anything.
She didn't spill any tea.
She didn't spill anything.
She did none.
Nothing.
Whatsoever.
Nothing.
Everybody got along. Did they really?
Can you tell us what your audition process was like for Power Rangers?
Well, I didn't have your traditional audition. I actually went in to audition for a movie that the same director, Shiki Levy, as Power Rangers, was directing. And I did not end up getting the role, but Shiki called my agent and said he wanted me to come in for a screen test for a show he was doing. I'd never heard of going in for a screen test. It was something that you would do back in the 50s and 60s, but apparently they did do some sometimes. So I didn't know what to expect. I still went in, and Shiki showed me videos of Machiko Soka, and I was like, wow, you really want me to do a screen test and imitate her in some way? He's like, no, just do your version, but put a little bit more comedy into it. So I did my version. Well, first they put makeup on me, and they put the whole costume on because they had it. It was brought over from Japan. It was original. And so I did this whole thing, and I tried to make her funny, you know, and he liked it a lot. Actually, there was a big crew there, and they were watching me perform it, and they all liked it. And I pretty much got the role right there on the spot. He loved it. And that's how I technically auditioned for Rita Repulsa.
Well, that does not happen to most actors.
You are one lucky, blessed young lady.
Yes.
Yes.
I mean, the fact that you went in for a different role, didn't book it, but God ended up blessing you with this. And I don't know what the other show was, but it just really resonated with me because we were just at a festival last weekend, and Gary Sinise was talking about that exact same thing. He had auditioned for Forrest Gump,
and then
didn't hear anything for a couple weeks, had an audition for 2 other movies that, you know, were supposedly big but never, you know, went anywhere, that he really wanted. Then he ended up getting a call like 3 weeks later.
Yeah.
That was it the screen test, or he had booked it 3 weeks later?
He booked it.
Yeah. And that role catapulted his career. And also helped him form a nonprofit, and now he serves the troops. And I'm saying all of this to say that we never know what God has for us. We go in wanting a particular role, but he has something better. Because now you're able to do conventions and you've played this iconic character. I think that's just amazing.
Yeah, and you made such an impression. So it's amazing. Good job.
Yes. Carla, can you share a fun fact about being on the show?
Share a fun fact of when I was on a show, something I would like the fans to know. Well, I'll share something, and that is, you know, the famous lines where Rita is always like, "Oh, I have such a headache. Oh, they give me such a headache. You're giving me a headache. I got one of those headaches again." Well, that line in itself, I believe, is something that maybe Machiko Soka came up with, or someone who ever wore the costume, because the costume, the headpiece itself, was made out of like a metal, like it was wrapped, it was a helmet, and then all the hair was wrapped around it with the cloth and the little crown. And that thing was so tight on my head. And by the end of filming, my head hurt so much. Not even the end, it was like during filming, I would have real headaches. I really had a headache. And so it just was so painful that I smartened up after a while, though. I would take off the headpiece after every scene I filmed or every line I had to perform, because having the headpiece on for more than, I would say, 30 minutes, really, you could feel the headache coming up. So that line is very true. I really had a headache.
Oh gosh, that headdress. I used to wonder about how heavy that was. It was a lot. That was a lot.
Yeah. I could understand how it
never
was a headache.
Yeah.
God, I had such a headache.
You never complained, though. She was always smiling and just joyful and easygoing.
That's for being professional.
Yeah, you were so professional, and you went through a lot of makeup too for that. Like just having her, dressing her was a whole process.
Yeah, I could imagine, because that just the whole outfit.
Anyway, the outfit,
the cones,
the outfit.
And,
yeah, that was something.
Fit.
See what we did there? Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Carla. And we have a question for our fans.
What was your favorite scene or episode from In Space? Write it below. Bye.
And a special shout out to our Platinum, Gold, and Diamond members. Thank you to all of our members.
Okay, can we redo that? Cut.
No.